Hello St John's family, I hope you're keeping well in these unusual times. Happy Mother's Day to those of you who are mums and you're watching this on Sunday. I'm guessing your day is probably looking a little different to what you might have originally had planned. That seems to be true of a lot of our days at the moment, but I sincerely hope that you're made to feel special today in whatever ways that is possible. In this message, I really just wanted to give you a little bit of an update and try and offer a few words of encouragement. If you've ever felt tempted to doubt my care for you all, please remember that I am putting myself through the absolute horror of sitting here by myself talking to a camera. I hate it. I guess it's something I'm going to have to get used to perhaps, but rest assured I am genuinely squirming, so I don't intend to go on for too long. I'll have to build up over the weeks to my usual 2-hour monologue, but that's to come. You will all no doubt appreciate that the situation we're facing at the moment is fast changing. The goalposts seem to shift a little bit each day, which is unsettling for everyone. And it can also make it really tricky to come up with plans, not least of all plans for how we pull church life together. One thing probably amongst many that they didn't teach us at Vicar Factory is how to prepare for a pandemic. So seriously, your patience and grace is really appreciated as we look to adjust and try and come up with plans to safeguard those things that are fundamental and really important to us about what it is to be church together. It does feel right to re-emphasise the guidance that our governments, that the experts are putting out there and ask that you follow that as closely as you can. I know there'll be elements of that you're probably questioning, aspects which frustrate you a little. I'm already finding myself getting a bit worn down by some of the words and phrases that are trotted out with a little bit too much regularity. Unprecedented is a word that I never thought I would grow to hate, but that's happening. The new normal, another phrase that's a bit oof. But the one probably I hate the most is social distancing. I can think of few things more antithetical to the way of Jesus than social distancing. But we mustn't let those petty annoyances obscure what our leaders, what our experts are trying to achieve about controlling the spread of the virus. The reality that some of us can be asymptomatic, that we can experience very little dip in how we are feeling and yet still be carriers of the virus is a dangerous combination. It's dangerous for our mindset, but it's more literally dangerous for those who we might come into contact with and who are vulnerable and for whom this illness carries the risk of death. I'm aware that some of you have expressed consternation as to how far-reaching some of those social distancing measures have gone, particularly for us as a church and the pastoral care that it's looking to extend. And to try and help you with that, I think probably the best way, or one of the best ways that I've heard it framed recently is by a pastor who encouraged his church to view social distancing as a form of social justice. It's a way for the strong to give preference to the weak, for the majority to take care of the minority, and to do that from a place of love, not fear. So we're being asked to put aside our instincts for the usual ways we normally express pastoral care and look for other ways to show people that they're not forgotten and that we are still here looking out for them. So please, can I just encourage you, keep listening carefully to what the experts are saying and follow it as far as you can. In line with that, hopefully most of you will have picked up communications earlier this week that we're going to do a communication drop around the parish, making offers of help to those who are self-isolating and who are particularly vulnerable. Amongst other things, it'll include details for people to make food donations at SJs for the food bank. And also encourage people in the community to let us know if they want to step in and help out and be involved in pitching together to help our community. We've gone to print on that communication and it should be ready for delivery on Thursday. So that does mean we're looking for volunteers for a whole host of different things. Obviously volunteers to deliver the cards around the parish, But then for other things like people to help out with making phone calls, deliver shopping, pick up prescriptions, doing a shift at SJ's, that sort of thing. So as this message goes out, I'll also be sending an email indicating to you which specific person in the church that you can contact to say, actually, yeah, I'd really like to volunteer with that particular aspect. So that'll be going out, hopefully, as you're picking up this message. We are trying to do all this in partnership with a number of other groups who are doing similar things locally, of which there are a few. It's wonderful. People are literally tripping over themselves to help out at this moment, which is a great thing. But it does throw up the challenge of doing all of that in a coordinated way. So your prayers for that would be really appreciated so that we all rally together and act as effectively as possible, I guess. A number of us are also working hard on thinking about how we can sustain some of the things that we hold dear about being God's people, but with the obvious constraint that we can't meet together physically. I know some of you are already running with things like WhatsApp groups and other ways of communicating together, but the communication team and I will look to flesh out different options in the coming days. And essentially, we're simply looking for ways to recreate interaction, I guess, in the moment connection for small groups, for large groups, lots of different ways of being able to do that feels like it's real time connecting with one another. We'll also be looking to put out some more regular things like a weekly sermon and ways for us all to be able to engage with prayer and God's word, all those good things that form a typical part of how we operate as a church family. Just as we have done over this weekend as well, I plan to open up the church every day, I think between 9 and 10:30 a.m. But again, I will confirm that in the email communication. But to open up the church to allow people the space to pray. And again, to do that for as long as we are able to, under the guidelines that we receive from on high. Having just done that this weekend, there is something special about the St. John's building, about the space, the peace that it offers for prayer. So, like I said, we'll do that and run that for as long as we're able to. I just want to finish up by expressing a few simple thoughts about some of the challenges of navigating this time. For many of us, the coming days and weeks are going to be deeply challenging. In addition to general health concerns, there's going to be uncertainty over livelihoods and income. And there is the no small thing of being contained to barracks, some of us with teenagers. And it's inevitable that we'll feel the stress of all that. And whilst it's right that as Christians we respond to this call that's been put out to be our best selves for others, and that's a good thing that we aim to do that, these circumstances inevitably can take their toll. And there may well be times when we don't always manage to be our best self. If you're aware that that's you already, or you feel like that might be brewing, remember that we're not only there to extend grace and forgiveness to others, although we do, but we are ourselves forgiven sinners, people who mess up and who need to regularly put ourselves under the healing grace of our great God who forgives. So not only be kind to others, but be kind to yourself and keep returning to Him for your strength. In that light, I'd also encourage you to take regular breaks from the relentless news feeds and updates about Corona. Yes, it's really important to keep abreast of the advice and be informed and respond accordingly. But I would encourage you just to seriously consider switching yourself off at intervals from that barrage of updates. Everything from the serious news through to the funny memes that are doing the round. I would see if you can try and find at least one stretch in the day when you do that for a full hour at a time. And feed your mind, feed your soul with something different. Practice that great verse from Philippians. Whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Direct your mind to good things, to Jesus-y things, to allow your emotional batteries to recharge and have a reprieve from all that which can feed an underlying anxiety. Keep reminding yourself of that biblical charge, whether it's Jesus's "don't let your hearts be troubled" or Paul's "don't be anxious about anything." It's that oft repeated refrain, that biblical refrain of "don't be afraid." It's easier said than done, but during these times it feels like it's built on the deep experience of knowing that Christ not only goes before us in all circumstances, but that he walks with us by his Spirit in those circumstances. And we connect with that reality in prayer and fellowship and his word. Now, the way we are engaging with some of those things is changing, hopefully only temporarily, but the God behind them isn't. He isn't changing. He's still good, he's still loving, and he's still in control. So keep praying for and with each other people, and may God bless you. Hopefully be in touch soon.